All right, so we're going to deep dive into the world of graphology, and specifically how to get ready for an interview for a job as a graphologist. Super interesting career, and we've got some awesome resources from RoleCatcher to help us out.
Yeah, a lot of people might think it's just, like reading handwriting, but it's a lot more than that. It's really analyzing all these little details in written or printed material.
Okay, so like right out of the gate, one of the first interview questions you might get is, what inspired you to become a graphologist?
Mm.
Which seems pretty simple, right?
Yeah, it seems simple, but there's a reason they asked that. They're really trying to see like how passionate you are. Like, are you really into this or is it just something you read in a book?
Yeah, so how do you show you're enthusiastic about it without, sounding fake? RoleCatcher says to think about like a specific moment when you realized this is for you.
Exactly. Think back to like that moment when you were like, wow, this is really cool. Maybe you read a book or saw a documentary or something happened in your life that made you think about handwriting and personality.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI can really help you out. They've got this huge database of interview questions,
Mm.
and their AI can actually help you tailor your answers to different jobs.
Right? Like you wouldn't answer the same way for a forensic job as you would for a job that's more about personal development. RoleCatcher's AI looks at the job description and figures out what the employer's looking for, and then it helps you focus on the right skills.
Okay, so next question. Let's say they ask you, can you describe your process for analyzing handwriting?
Mhm.
How do you explain something that's pretty complicated without getting too technical?
You gotta find that balance between showing, what you're talking about and also making it easy to understand. So start by mentioning the main things you look at in a handwriting sample. Things like how they form their letters, the slant, the spacing, the pressure, and where the writing sits on the line. And then give a quick explanation of what each of those things tells you about the person.
Like I remember reading in RoleCatcher's Career Guide that if someone presses really hard when they write, it could mean they're intense or emotional. But if they write really lightly, it could mean they're more sensitive or reserved.
Exactly. Giving those kinds of examples helps them understand how it actually works.
Okay, here's a tricky one. The interviewer gives you a handwriting sample, and it's practically impossible to read. And they ask, how would you handle a situation where the handwriting is difficult to read? What's going through your head at that point?
Oh, they're definitely testing you to see if you can think on your feet and stay calm under pressure. So you can acknowledge that, yeah, it's tough, but then tell them what you would do, like maybe use a magnifying glass or better lighting, or even politely ask the client for more information.
It's also a good chance to show that you're really dedicated to getting it right. Even if it's a difficult sample, you're going to do everything you can to give a thorough analysis.
For sure, and practicing with RoleCatcher's AI can be really helpful here. You can record yourself answering the question and get feedback on how you sound, and if you're using language that's too technical.
All right, another common question. How do you ensure objectivity and accuracy in your analysis? This one gets to the core of what it means to be a graphologist.
It's your chance to show that you're professional and ethical. You can talk about how you follow standardized methods and research, and how you're always learning and keeping up with best practices.
Yeah, it shows that you're serious about your work and always trying to improve.
You can even mention specific things you do to stay objective, like double-checking your work, or getting a second opinion from another professional, or even doing a blind analysis where you don't know who the writer is beforehand.
And don't forget that you're talking to a person, not a robot.
That's right. Sharing a quick story about a time you had a tough analysis and how you made sure you were being objective can make you seem more genuine.
Okay, now imagine you've done the analysis and it's time to talk to the client. The interviewer asks, how do you communicate your findings to clients, especially when dealing with sensitive information? This question is about more than just analysis. It's about how well you communicate and how you work with people.
Right. You have to find that sweet spot between being thorough and making sure they understand you. You want to be clear and concise, but also sensitive. And you need to adjust your approach depending on the client and what they need.
So if you're working with someone on personal development, you might focus on the good stuff and how they can grow.
Right. And you want to be encouraging and positive. But if you're doing a forensic analysis, you have to be more objective and just stick to the facts.
And of course, keeping things confidential is super important.
Absolutely. You have to make sure the interviewer knows that you understand how important it is to protect the client's privacy and handle sensitive information carefully.
Okay, we've covered a lot already, but there's still more to talk about.
So another call that might come up is, how do you stay current with developments and trends in the field of graphology?
Yeah, makes sense. It's always changing.
Right. You got to keep learning to stay on top of the latest research and techniques.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher has some great resources for that. They have a whole library of career guides, skill guides, all sorts of stuff to help you stay updated.
Yeah, that's a good point. Using those resources shows you're proactive and taking the initiative to learn.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. What about a question like, can you share an example of a challenging handwriting analysis you've conducted and how you approached it? This one's all about showing how you solve problems and use your analytical skills in a real situation.
Yeah, you want to walk them through your process, show them you pay attention to detail, and you can think critically and find solutions.
So you could talk about a time when you had to analyze a sample that was weird or had inconsistencies, like maybe the slant changed a lot or there were some unusual letter formations.
Right, and explain how you figured it out. Did you do some research, consult resources, or maybe even ask another professional for their opinion?
Yeah, show them you're resourceful.
And don't forget to tell them what happened in the end.
Did your analysis lead to some important insights? Did it help you prove or disprove something?
Sharing the results always helps, but of course you got to keep things confidential.
Okay, now for a question that's more specific, they might ask, how would you apply graphology in specific field or industry?
So this is where you really show your knowledge.
Yeah, you got to demonstrate that you understand how graphology can be used in that particular field.
Like if it's a forensic role, you might talk about how you would analyze handwriting to see if a signature is real or to help identify a suspect.
Or if it's for human resources, you could explain how graphology can be used to figure out someone's personality and if they would be a good fit for the job.
And RoleCatcher's AI can be super helpful here. It can analyze the job description and figure out which graphology skills are most important for that role so you can really tailor your answer.
All right, let's talk about a question that tests your people skills. How would you handle a situation where a client disagrees with your analysis?
That's a tough one, but it happens.
You got to show them you're professional and empathetic and that you can handle a difficult conversation.
First of all, you got to listen. Really listen to what they're saying and understand why they disagree.
Acknowledge their feelings.
Yeah, and then you can explain how you would address their concerns. Would you go over your analysis again? Provide more evidence?
Maybe even get a second opinion from another professional.
Exactly. You want to show that you're willing to talk it through and find a solution that works for both of you.
Okay, one last question for this section. It's about your future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years within the field of graphology?
They want to know your goals and how you plan to grow in the field.
Do you want to specialize in something, get more certifications, do some research?
Maybe even mentor other graphologists.
Don't be afraid to think big.
Maybe you want to start your own practice or write a book or become a leading expert in a specific area.
Sharing your aspirations shows that you're passionate about graphology and you're serious about making a difference.
And RoleCatcher can help you figure out which job opportunities match your goals. They have info on career paths, salary ranges, and they even highlight companies that are hiring.
So we've talked about a lot of different interview questions and how to answer them. And we've seen how RoleCatcher can help you prepare. But there's one more thing we need to discuss. How RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you get hired.
So RoleCatcher doesn't just help you prep for the interview, it actually helps you get noticed by employers.
It's like having your own career matchmaker working for you.
Exactly. Their AI looks at your skills and experience and matches you with jobs that fit your profile.
So instead of just applying to random jobs, you're letting the jobs come to you.
Right. It's a more proactive approach.
And RoleCatcher also helps you stand out from the crowd. Their AI gives you tips on how to make your resume and online profiles better.
It's like having a professional resume writer and career coach all in one place.
Okay, so you've prepped for the interview, you've got RoleCatcher's AI working its magic. Now what?
Well, RoleCatcher's career guide also gives you an idea of what to expect once you actually get the job, especially for entry-level roles.
Right, every job is different, but there are some common things you'll probably be doing.
Yeah, you'll spend a lot of time analyzing handwriting samples, looking at all those key elements we talked about.
So you're putting your skills to the test in the real world.
Exactly, and as you get more experience, you can start to specialize in different areas of graphology.
Like what?
Well, you can focus on forensic analysis, or personality assessment, or even explore how graphology is used in business or education.
Wow, so many possibilities.
And RoleCatcher's career guide can help you figure out which path is right for you. They have information on career paths, salaries, and certifications.
So it's like a roadmap for your graphology career.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. We've explored the world of graphology, we've tackled those tough interview questions, And we've seen how RoleCatcher can be your secret weapon in getting that dream job.
And building a successful career.
But as you start this journey, remember that graphology is more than just a bunch of techniques or a job.
It's a way to understand people, to uncover hidden potential, and to connect with others on a deeper level.
And with your passion, your preparation, and RoleCatcher by your side, you're ready to make your mark in this amazing field.
Good luck.
And that's a wrap for today's deep dive.